Oh, Madakiapi, my relatives. I want to say today that Indigenous peoples are here for that path forward. That path where they take these resources and invest in community who knows how to keep their communities protected. We come here today to offer a prayer. But we come here, you see the American Indian community here present, the American Indian movement flag. We come here to stand in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. And in this prayer, we do a great many of things that need to be done. We believe in our indigenous ways of life. And one of those is to acknowledge the land that we stand on. The land that we stand on is Indigenous people's land.
Yes, say that.
If you see Indigenous people's land, we have to acknowledge this story. The story is the truth. And the truth is that we cannot address systemic racism until we address the genocidal history that put us in this mess that we are in. As Indigenous peoples, we understand this march towards justice because the African American community, the Native American community are being murdered by police. And this we can no longer stand for. I like that the Black Lives Matter movement has been waging forth ever since for years. That they built this movement, that they share this space with us, the American Indian community here today. I like that this space is here for us to share this prayer with you. Our hopes in this prayer is that when we come together, we don't just come together as a community, then just leave as individuals. No, our hope is that when we leave here knowing that we are one, that we are a community that's committed to justice for Black lives, for Native lives, and for all the distinct communities whose struggles rage forth. So in acknowledging the land, we have to remember this story that we are all a part of. For 500 years, Indigenous peoples have been resilient and fought against genocide and colonization. For hundreds of years, the African American community has been raging forth with their resilience and their movement towards justice. The wealth of this nation is made off our lands. The wealth of this nation is made off the back of the African American communities. This is a story that we have to understand and come to grips with. But we want to come here today with a prayer for everybody, a prayer for this path forward. And we say, Wopila Kanka, for the city coming together as one. The city stands at a place to set a precedent that could ripple out. And this we truly love and honor. The city has the world's attention, as I said yesterday. One thing we need to do is defund the police and put it back in community, these resources. The message is clear and consistent for this path forward. And we need commitments from this city, from the officials that we have elected.
As Indigenous peoples, we understand that we must honor life, protect life, honor Mother Earth, honor our families, our communities, our children, honor each other. So in this way, we understand that we must move away from a past of injustice and into a future of justice. We understand that Black Lives Matter is Indigenous justice. That Indigenous justice is Black justice. That Black justice is world justice. So as we go into this prayer, this Wocheke, we are of one heart and one mind. My relatives, I ask you now to stand with us. Stand together in unity for this prayer, this Wocheke, this giving of our spirit, our heart, for our relatives and those struggling around the world against police brutality. In this prayer, we ask you to give of your Nagi, your spirit, your Chante, your heart, your Kawachi Kanka, your mind, for Black justice. Defund police. Move towards community-led safety. So we offer this prayer We call on the Creator. We understand that we do not separate the Creator from creation. Our spirituality is our reality. With that in mind, this is a spiritual movement too. And we do this together. We'll go with this song, be with us, pray with us, and we'll close with the language of the Cheti Shakui.
Again, we want to remind you here today that our relatives from the American Indian community, Little Earth, the American Indian movement are here to remind everyone that this is an intergenerational movement for justice. This is an intergenerational movement for healing. And that we're not here just to trigger the trauma, but we're here to trigger the healing genes that need to happen as this march towards justice occurs. Every step of the way, the first step is done right. So we say Wopla to Black Visions and take back the block for understanding this and making place for Indigenous peoples. Because Indigenous peoples, we have to be acknowledged not just historically, but presently. We are not gone. We are still here. We're here to stand in solidarity. So with that, my brothers and sisters, we're going to give this over now.
Thank you all for joining. We're live in Minneapolis at Powderhorn Park. A community meeting with city council members called The Path Forward.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. A reminder that we are here really for transformation and for growth of something new. And that's the vision and the dream that we need to focus on today. Before we get started, just a couple of quick announcements. If you forgot, we're still in a pandemic. And please keep on masks and try to maintain social distancing as much as possible. For folks who will be getting up on the stage, we'll be switching mics between speakers, because again, COVID-19. Lastly, we made the announcement about interpreters, so if you have folks in the crowd that you know might need to access that, please direct them the right way. And the fourth and very joyous one is, happy fucking birthday, Prince! We already know he's here with us. His little queer, non-binary, everything, all the things self is 100% part of the reason why we are here today. And many of the ancestors who have truly laid the groundwork and the path forward for us. And before I call up more folks, I just want to say a couple of things. So bear with me here. Minneapolis, we're here because now is the time to dismantle MPD. Black people and queer people and trans people and Indigenous people and disabled people and immigrants and poor people, we have never looked to the police for our safety. We have looked to each other. We have looked to each other for protection from the police. It shouldn't have taken so much death to get us here. George Floyd should not have been murdered for so many people to wake up. It shouldn't have taken young black folks rising, risking their lives in these streets over and over. I want to honor all of the organizers and communities who, for generations, have dreamed and worked to make this day happen. Right now, I feel Harriet at my back. I want to recognize every one of you who believed this day was possible and said it and conjured it when everyone said you were wrong. And listen, I know many folks have a lot of questions about abolishing the police. I see you. We got you. It's okay to be scared and it's okay to be uncertain. And of course we're uncertain. They've spent hundreds of years taking money from us to actually create our own safety. That is why we don't have all the answers. It's really important to notice that because as we recognize that uncertainty, we have to recognize that that comes from a place, and that was strategic on part of our oppressors. There are things we don't know yet that we need to figure out together. But there's a lot we do know today. We know that we're safer when everyone has a place to live. We know we're safer when everyone has access to healthy food. We know we're safer when everyone has good quality education and healthcare and mental health care. We know that violence in our communities happens as a result of trauma, and that we have to intervene in the cycle instead of policing the symptom. We know that there are resources in our city to make this possible. We know we're safer without armed, unaccountable patrols protected by the state out here hunting black people. I want to hold up everyone who has been out here taking real risks and working hard to support and protect each other in community. Literally fighting fires, feeding each other, defending neighbors from white supremacists. We are already doing this work, y'all. My curls don't want me to win today. Today, we'll be learning more about how we got to this moment and what lies ahead of us from Miski Noor, one of my best friends, my woe, my comrade and my wife in the struggle forever. Not really wife, but like queer wife. And Ariana Nason, also a comrade in the struggle. Our council members will make a historic commitment right here, right now. And if you've seen the video with Jacob yesterday, you know. And most important, we're going to ask you all to talk to each other about where we go next. Before we do that, I'm going to pass the mic to Councilmember Andrea Jenkins to share a poem. Thank you.
How's everybody doing out there? Is it right if I sit up here on the stage? They asked me to do the impossible. As a city council member in the midst of a global pandemic, in the midst of a global uprising, to write a poem. But guess what? Your girl came through. Quarantine soul. I only think of you on 2 occasions, and that's day 2009. Babyface. One Sunday morning, I listened to the entire discography of Luther Vandross. It made me smile. I cleaned the entire house, one room at a time. I found a jar of Miracle Whip, dated used by June 20th, 2008. Little Richard, the founding father of rock and roll. Oh, Lucille, why can't you be true? Our babies falling asleep at the breakfast table that doubles as their desks. Homeschool mama's rule. I said homeschool mama's rule. Mother's Day came and went, socially distant, days and nights, singularity, solo, dinner for one. Epic moments move things. Epic moments make movements. Epic movements start with moments. 61 seconds was a moment. Jamar Clark was a movement. Oh Lord, we missing Prince right now. He would probably say something like, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life." Yeah, Prince went to Baltimore. Prince went to Baltimore. Prince went to Baltimore and wrote a song when Freddie Gray was murdered, killed, throat crushed, back broke. Yeah, Freddie got the knee choke too. There's a deeper, darker side, nefarious forces operating under the surface. It's like watching The Last Dance. Make you want to stand in line for 48 whole hours to get them new Airs, them new Yeezys, or that Popeye fried chicken sandwich. Yeah, that's my addiction. Mama cooking up them wings in the kitchen. Yeah, but we can't breathe, 'cause Ahmaud Arbery was murdered in the streets. Breonna Taylor was murdered in her sheets. It's being treated without respect. It's having to fight for everything. It's not getting the same chances. It's being left out, like you don't count. It's death. I grew up listening to Public Enemy in real time. I dialed 911 a long time ago. Can't you see how late they reacting? They only come and they come when they wanna. So bring the morgue truck and involve the coroner. Quarantine blues. Sitting at home thinking of a master plan. Elizabeth Alexander asked us, what if love was the most powerful word in the universe? We sing songs, dance dances, paint pictures, documenting the pain for the world to witness, but nothing changes. nothing ever changes. Minneapolis, goddamn. We can't breathe. The EPA eased the laws protecting our air quality. The coronavirus is attacking our lungs. And America got its knee on our necks. White supremacy is a public health crisis. But guess what? We got the cure. So what you want to talk about next, beauties? Revolution? You wouldn't use that word if you knew what it meant. It ain't pretty. It's bloody. It overturns things. Somewhere in America tonight, somebody is saying, make America great again. We say emphatically, no. Somewhere in America tonight, somebody is saying, why don't they just go home? We say defiantly, no. Somewhere in America tonight, somebody is asking, what do they want? We demandingly say we want change. Change the way we educate, change the way we employ our communities, change the way we live, the way we treat each other, change the way we police our communities. There is a new breeze blowing in. Young voices taking over. When you put your knee on George Floyd's neck, young voices said no. They said, when we know justice, you will know peace. No justice, no peace. Hashtag Ayanna Dior, stop killing black trans women.
We're here live in Minneapolis. That was Andrea Jenkins,
Give it
one of
up!
the first trans woman city council members. This is Powderhorn Park.
That was incredible. Thank you, Councilmember Andrea Jenkins. A reminder that when we say Black lives, we unapologetically mean all Black lives. Period. So without further ado, would love to call Miski Noor and Ariana Nason up to the front. Boop, boop, give them a hand. And while they're coming up, I realized I forgot to give y'all my name. Hi, everyone. My name is Candace Montgomery. I use she and they pronouns. My squad is Black Visions. Give it up. All right, here you go.
Good? We get a second mic for Ariana? There we go. Okay, I'll get started. How y'all feeling? Yeah, excited to be here on Prince's birthday. Happy birthday, Prince. I feel you. Y'all, the Minneapolis Police Department cannot be reformed. The Minneapolis Police Department needs to be dismantled. And we say this because we have studied history and we have watched what's happened in Minneapolis this week. MPD has shown us who they really are over and over and over and over again. It is not an accident when a cop is violent with a black person. It is not a result of bad training. Anti-blackness is part of the purpose of policing. Police forces grew out of slave patrols meant to catch black people who were escaping from slavery, trying to claim their own liberation, seeking freedom. And although Minnesota was not a slave state, black people in Minneapolis have always been the targets of police violence. The Minneapolis police were also found as a tool of genocide, y'all, to protect white settlers moving onto the land we're now on, pushing Dakota people off. This is in MPD's DNA. If police reform worked, we wouldn't be here right now. Minneapolis has actually been a poster child for reform as far as policing is concerned. And MPD has already passed a lot of the major police reforms that people are promoting around the country today. We tried it, didn't work. Telling you now, don't try it in other cities. We have had citizen review boards, body cameras, and a black chief. But we are still here, watching black people get murdered and tear gassed in our streets. It has taken a nationwide uprising to get 4 cops to be charged in the murder of George Floyd. And y'all, we can't keep doing this. When abolitionists fought for an end to slavery, a lot of white people argued that it would be impossible. That it would be chaos if black people were allowed to be free. But there were visionaries who knew it would be possible, that it was possible, that it is possible, that even if it took a reconstruction of the entire country, it was worth it. Minneapolis, we are here to make history today. We are here to rebuild our city on a different foundation. A foundation of real safety, protection for black people, for Native people, for immigrants, for disabled folks, for queer and trans people. Minneapolis, let's do it.
It's not going to work with my mask on. Oh, that's a thick mask. Bonjour. My name is Ariana Nason. I'm from Fond du Lac, and I have been a resident of South Minneapolis for a long time now. And I am here with my crew, with all of my people, all of my relatives, all of my friends, and all my family. And I am here to speak on behalf and with MPD 150 today. So, all of you lovely friends, all of you beautiful faces out here, it feels like May Day out here right now, but it's so much more than that. And I am so excited to see what else keeps coming out from every single person here today. So if you are here today, though, you're probably already agree that we need to abolish the police. But, this isn't just about us. This is a beautiful start. This is a beautiful movement. But we have to keep building the movement outward in a sustainable way that's from connection, that's from resilience, that's from a place of joy, that's from a place of life-giving work. That is what we are out here to do. And this means conversations, this means political education. Our families, friends, and neighbors are going to have questions, lots and lots of questions about what a police-free future can look like. What does that mean? And we have a few points that have been helpful when we talk to our people. We've been doing this for a long time. Let us help you. Ruth Wilson Gilmore said, "Abolition is about presence, not absence. It's about building life-affirming institutions." So again, abolition is about presence, not absence. It's about building life-affirming institutions. We absolutely need to, and we will continue to defund and divest from the police and put that money back into our communities and to support the life-giving work that our communities have already been doing from time immemorial. And no, there is not one specific model that we can point to. There is not one specific example because there is not one specific community that is going to be the best fit for everyone. We all know what we need to heal. We all already know within our communities what we can do, what we need, and what we need more of. And that's where we want to keep putting in that work, is building into that space. We have to look back at the wisdom of those who have lived in societies without police, because a reminder, the Minneapolis Police Department is only about 150 years old. That's not that old. 150 years, that's 3 generations tops. That's a short amount of time, and we can do that. We have at least 5 generations of people doing the work here in the crowd right now. So when we are talking about doing the work and building out a future, some of what we are talking about is visionary. So for example, when people ask, who will I call when I need help? That's a valid question, because not everyone is connected to community, to their neighbors, to their family, like a lot of us are lucky to be able to. Being connected is a gift, and one I want to keep working on giving, and one I want to keep working on cultivating. So when people ask us that, we let them know that, first of all, for many of us, police have never been helpful. They have never been the option. They have never been a safe option, period. For many of us, police is fear, is danger. So having other people to call isn't a brand new revolutionary idea. It's something that thousands of our neighbors are already practicing. So for example, back north on my res where I'm from, there's this notion where it's like, you don't call cops, you call family. Like, you don't call cops, you call your neighbor. You call the people that know you. You call the people that know what's going on, and you build from there. That is who is safe. That is who knows how to handle it, because we know how best to communicate with each other, because we are connected. So, the second thing that we do know for sure is that we're not abolishing help, we're abolishing the police. Just flat out. There can be and needs to be someone to call when we're in crisis, and sometimes that's going to look informal, like neighbors. Sometimes it's going to be more formal, like social workers that we trust, that we put into our communities, that we choose who are there. But the point is, we choose who we get to call, and we choose who responds to us. That is so important. The ultimate safety is being able to choose how your life is supported. We absolutely do not want to just rebrand police, change the color of their uniform, and call them something else. Like, nah. Just no. We're not going there. We can think critically about what unarmed crisis response teams must be, or they might look like. So if there is a crisis in your community, folks have an agreed upon response. Folks know how to support each other and hold each other up. And as we've been saying, we can and should and must invest in community-led safety measures that are not just neighborhood watches of vigilantes snooping on each other. Like, I swear, if I am walking home one more time and I hear the same guy on my block screaming at me to go home, like, no. That's
That's not safe. We have to do the work to imagine something different and to listen to what people in our own neighborhoods and in our communities want. We have to practice listening, and we have to take what we are given when we are noticing these things and turn it outward. We have to create and shape the change. So one last point that has been very useful to us in conversation with people who aren't going to show up to an event like this, and that's fine. It's about talking about harm and violence through a public health lens. Harm reduction. When you are preventing the problems, it is more efficient, it is more sustainable. Flat out, if you need to talk about it, it's more cost effective. It really is. Saying that we want to divest from punishment and invest in prevention, not just because it's right or the cool thing to talk about right now, but because decades of data prove that it's more effective at keeping us safe. We do not need more cops. We need more youth programs, mental health services, addiction treatment options, including a harm reduction approach. We need to decriminalize all of the things that are giving police an excuse or trying to give them an excuse to arrest us for absolutely no reason other than trying to survive. We need more housing. We need more sustainable jobs, especially under the current conditions right now. We have no idea what the future is going to look like, but we get to decide. Lastly, MPD150.com has a very, very handy tab right on the right side of the page that's frequently asked questions. It's a good resource, and it's accessible, and we have it translated.
Wow, one more time. Let's give it up for Miski Noor and Ariana Nason. Before we continue with our program, we want to make another announcement around interpreters. So folks who are in need of ASL interpretation, you can go over here to the tree, right here, and then I'll let y'all.
Si necesitan interpretación hacia el español, ahí tenemos una mesa con equipo de interpretación. Ahí vas a poder escuchar toda la plática en español. Ahí pueden venir a recoger su equipo.
Assalamu alaikum, magacayga Naima la dhahaa. Waxaan joogaa miiska halkaas oo miiska cad. Igu kulama hadda af Soomaali turjumaan u baahan tihiin. Mahadsanid.
Dylan. This is a thing. Mic switching. Yes, so next what I'm going to do is call up our council members and pass over the mic to our council president, Lisa Bender. And so give it up for them. Yes, they out here, y'all. This is brave, you know? This is brave. I know people were on Twitter yesterday, okay? This is what leadership looks like right here. This is what leadership looks like. Folks who are willing to drop into imagination and into a vision, that is leadership. And folks who are willing to bring their people with them, that is what leadership is. Don't let them get it twisted. And before I pass the mic over, I just want to really emphasize some of the points that were made, that this is about something that we can grow together, and that this hits across all of our communities, right? All of our communities, and especially is impacting Black people, especially impacting Indigenous folks and folks of color. And I think that's critical, right? Most deportations start at an arrest by a police officer. Most deportations start at an arrest by a police officer. And there are many other issues in which police have been asked to solve issues or problems or whatever that keeps us all unsafe. And so just a reiteration that we all here together, we all have a vested interest in defunding MPD. And thank you. So now I'll pass it over to Lisa. Let me grab you the mic.
Thank you. Is that working? Hi, Minneapolis. You look so beautiful today. I'm Lisa Bender. I'm the president of the Minneapolis City Council. Thank you to Black Visions Collective. Thank you to Reclaim the Block. Thank you to our Black leaders, our communities of color, our Indigenous leaders, and to every single one of you who's raising your voice in the streets of Minneapolis, demanding change. We're here because we hear you. We're here because George Floyd was killed by the Minneapolis police. We are here because in Minneapolis and in cities across the United States, it is clear that our system of policing is not keeping our communities safe. Our efforts at incremental reform have failed. Period. Our commitment is to do what's necessary to keep every single member of our community safe and to tell the truth that the Minneapolis police are not doing that. Our commitment is to end our city's toxic relationship with the Minneapolis Police Department, to end policing as we know it, and to recreate systems of public safety that actually keep us safe. And these are your words. We hear you, and we're here to make our commitment to your words, to your leadership. So I invite every single resident of Minneapolis into a conversation about how we move forward together, while we center the voices of individuals and communities who are most impacted by community violence and by police violence. We have an amazing team of leaders at the Minneapolis City Council. Look at them here. And it is an honor to serve with them and to turn the mic over to our brilliant City Council Vice President, Andrea Jenkins.
Yeah, what she said. If y'all don't know, this is Oluchi right here. I asked Oluchi to come stand with me and have my back so I can tell y'all why we wear the color purple. A requiem for the queers, or why we wear the color purple. We wear purple because all queens deserve a royal crown. Because it speaks volumes to those who claim they are colorblind, and it connects us to an ancient cultural legacy. We wear purple because Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, two stars, street transvestite action revolutionaries, wore purple when they marched at Stonewall. We wear purple for all the queers who died on June 24th, 1973 in New Orleans when a bigoted homophobe sprayed Ronzinol lighter fluid on the stairs and tossed a match, and the ensuing flames traveled to the upstairs lounge, killing 32 people just 4 years after Stonewall. We wear purple for all the queer and questioning youth that will sleep under a bridge or trade sex for a place to stay tonight. We wear purple for the Indigenous, two-spirit people, representing our struggle on the daily. We wear purple because radical women of color feminism shapes our mindset and thought process, offering critical resistance to the prison industrial complex, male patriarchy, and religious subjugation. Wind is kicking out here today, y'all. We wear purple because we have to rewrite the narrative of what is and who is a woman. We wear purple because the intersections of race, class, gender, and sexuality is the street we live on, and we can't move even if we wanted to. We have to act against what is considered normal. All of y'all can go and get married now. But I can't even vote because my ID does not match up to the person standing in the ballot box. All of y'all can go and get married now, but I still have to suffer a urinary tract infection because I can't go to the bathroom in some public spaces. All of y'all can go and get married now, but CeCe McDonald was locked up in the men's prison at St. Cloud Correctional Facility for defending herself from racist, transphobic, and homophobic attacks, while George Zimmerman, who murdered Trayvon Martin, is still walking around a free man with his gun in his waistband. All of y'all can go and get married now. And believe me, I am truly happy. It means that we have moved a little closer to a more just, more righteous society. But we still got a long way to go. The personal is political. We wear purple for Miss Major and the Transgender Intersex Justice Project, my homegirl from Chicago who marched at Stonewall 2 and is still putting in revolutionary work for the trans brothers and trans sisters on lockdown. We wear purple for Leslie Feinberg and Kate Bornstein, two transgender warriors. We will never forget what they taught us about who we are and what we are, and how beauty is our birthright too. I wear purple for my people, my beautiful queer people. And what if love was the most powerful word in the ethos? Love. Love, 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 love. And what if my queer people were the embodiment of that love, representing everything and nothing? We wear purple because Elton John sang. And you can tell everybody this is your song. I know it might sound simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind if I put down in the words how wonderful life is when queers are in the world. Thank you, everybody. This is a journey. This ain't gonna happen overnight. This ain't gonna happen tomorrow. We need everybody. We need everybody's voices included. We need everybody's energy, everybody's manpower to reshape what public safety looks like in our community. So we're counting on you to be at the table to make this thing happen. I'm gonna turn over the microphone to Council Member Alondra Cano.
Hola, buenas tardes. My name is Alondra Cano. I'm the daughter of undocumented immigrants. I'm the 9th Ward Council member. And I am no longer a reformist. Your truth, your beauty, your consistency, your power, and your strength allows me to be here today showing up as a person who believes that we should and can abolish our current Minneapolis police system. In that light, and in that future that I know we can build together, because we've been doing it, now we're going to accelerate it. I believe there is a space for everyone, and that no human life is disposable. I am here to send a message to many today, and one of those black leaders is our chief of police, a respectable, kind person who has had to carry the responsibility of this burden alone for far too long. And I want him to know that I am here to make sure we can all bring that responsibility and that burden home, and we're going to create a fear-free future where every life is truly protected and respected. I encourage all of our officers who are still on duty to continue to do your work with compassion, with respect and love. We're going to need every single human to be a part of this project. I believe in a future where every single life is a part of us and no one is disposable. I believe we can do this. We're going to bring this policing system from the upside down, and we're all going to stand in the sunlight, and we're going to build this community together brick by brick, one by one. We're here today to talk about our vision, all of us together, all of these beautiful council members, courageous and brave. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the process of how we're going to get there, because the process also leads to the vision. I believe this summer is going to be a truth and reconciliation summer for all of us. I believe we need to start that process of digging deep into all the harms and hurts, into all the pauses, into all the challenges, opportunities, into all the rainbows and wild horses. That's what I believe we're going to have to do this summer. A truth and reconciliation community engagement process to ensure that whatever we end up with has involved everyone that wants to be a part of that conversation. We need to be able to create that third space where we engage each other deeply and on a very human level, above and beyond, in a both-and moment, outside of protests and press conferences. Those things are still needed, but we need to be able to sit down with each other and really dig deep to see what it's going to take to get us to the other side. Radical collaboration is what I've been seeing in the past couple of days, now almost 2 weeks. Deep mutual aid, multiracial coalitions. We're going to have to make sure that every single community of color is present and centered. The American Indian community, the Latino community, the Somali community, the African American community, our white allied community. We all need to bottom line that work. I believe we are brave. I believe we are loved. I believe many of us can see that a new world indeed is possible. And on a sunny day in South Minneapolis, we can hear her breathing. Last but not least, to our young earthbenders, waterbenders, airbenders that are watching this, please know that we are going to need your love, your support, your aunties, your mom and dad, your cousins. We're all going to need your support and your love and your care and your attention here. So yip yip.
I noticed Alondra didn't shout out the firebenders, so I'm just going to say what up to the firebenders. So I want to apologize to everyone for being your May Day consolation prize. I know the City Council is not an exciting consolation prize to that. This council is going to dismantle this police department. All right, they're telling me to say it again. This council is going to dismantle this police department. But a warning to everybody in the crowd, if we don't have your vigilance, if you don't stay in this fight, I fear that this council or another will simply glue it back together. So I'm not too great with rah-rah speeches, and so I'm going to just keep it pretty calm. I did want to talk to you all a little bit about solidarity. I know that we've had a lot of folks up here. Alondra spoke to it. Our Native brothers spoke to it. But I want to tell you about a call I got from a few friends of mine from Colombia. For those that don't know, in the country of Colombia, they have one of the worst human rights crises. More people are killed by police and the military there, more Colombian citizens than anywhere else in the world. And for those that don't know, when we talk about black people, we're not just talking about black people in the U.S. There's a huge amount of black people all over South America, obviously all over the world. I was talking to them, and they said, you know, Jeremiah, we want to stay in contact with you about what you guys are doing. We want to know what the best practices are, which was really humbling to me, because I think that often there are places around the world that have done more radical work than we have here in the U.S., certainly more radical work than we've done here in Minnesota. So I was humbled for them to say that they wanted to talk to me and to track what we're doing here at the City Council. And they offered me a refrain or a poem that I want to read to you guys that they read when somebody is killed by police in Colombia. So I'm going to read that for you guys here. It goes, "My voice is now shouting, my dreams remain intact. Remember, I will only perish if you lose your commitment. Because those who have died in this struggle live on in every brother and sister. And for those who have died, not 1 minute of silence. We must always carry on the struggle and the fight. For how long? Forever. Until how long? Until victory, or if need be, until our death." I want to say that it can be tempting for us to, I think, give a moment of silence to George Floyd. It can be tempting for us to give a moment of silence to Breonna Taylor, because that's what we do. But I'm going to urge you to not give one moment of silence, because it is your voice. It is your fight that has gotten us to this point. So not one moment of silence for those who have died. I want to thank all of you for staying vocal, and we're going to be in this fight with you together. And we're going to work, and we're going to fight, and I think that with your support, with you at our backs, we're not going to fail. Thank you.
One announcement, okay? Sorry. Hi everyone. So we get to step into an opportunity to make sure we keep each other safe. Marin, we found Annika. She's down here by the blue tent. Marin, little baby's looking for you. Amy, is that right? We will take you to her, but if you can come down to the blue tent, so that we can connect y'all again, please. And if y'all know Marin and Annika, they're in the crowd somewhere. We just want to make sure that they get reconnected. So again, we're down here at the stage. Marin, come down, okay? Thank you all.
Hey everybody, how you doing? We staying strong today. My name is Philippe Cunningham, and I'm the Minneapolis City Council member representing the 4th Ward in North Minneapolis. And as a black, queer, transmasculine person, I want to first start off with saying that we are here because of our ancestors and elders, such as Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who threw the first bricks at police officers at Stonewall, fighting police brutality. We can never forget where our roots are. So we honor our ancestors and elders. Right now we stand at a precipice of revolutionary change. COVID-19 has just ravished our communities and our economy. We have an opportunity to rebuild that economy that is not rooted in white supremacy, racist ideology, and one that is rooted in community. As we are rebuilding public safety, we have a real opportunity here to rebuild public safety. We have a very clear opportunity to do so in a way that's rooted, again, in community and justice. I stand before you humbled at the opportunity to be in elected office. For those of you who don't know, when I ran for office, I actually unseated a 20-year city council president incumbent. And so, thanks, Vera. So while I stand before you here now, I recognize the absolute blessing that I have in order to be here, and I will fight nonstop. This work is not new. We know that. And across the entire city, over the past 2 weeks, we have seen that it is possible for us to keep our own community safe. In North Minneapolis, as the buildings were being broken and burned by white supremacists and extremists, MPD was nowhere to be found. And with all due respect to the fire department, they were putting us on wait lists as black-owned businesses burned. So we had to come together ourselves in order to protect our community, to be able to protect the little bit of community wealth that we've been able to build. And so now even the loudest police fans in my ward who have been vocally against the work that I've been doing, even they are saying, this is clearly broken. Even they see it now. They're pausing to reflect on the reality of the times when they have called the police and the kind of service that they got. They're reflecting on the fact that they were nowhere to be found as we were in crisis. While we have no paradigm for policing that is not rooted in white supremacy, we do have a paradigm and a way to have community safety that is rooted in community and justice. We've seen that all across the city the past 2 weeks. And so you'll have to forgive me right quick. I will get a little bit professorial. It is possible for us to do this because we have a model called the public health approach to public safety. What that does is it looks at violence from an epidemiological perspective, that it is a disease that spreads interpersonally and intergenerationally. So therefore, it can be prevented and treated.
Thanks for joining.
Even here in Minneapolis, we as a city
Cunningham
council have operationalized strategies that are working. We have seen a precipitous drop of gang involvement because folks are being offered a ramp, an off-ramp from that life by community members. The reality is that folks have been doing this work for decades but not getting paid for it. And now is the time for us as a city to start paying the community members who have been doing this work for decades and need to get paid. All that money has been going into the police department, and what have we gotten in return? Pain, trauma, and hurt. It is time for us to get behind community and get behind the strategies that we know work. And you have a majority of the city council here today ready to back that up. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, we're here live in Powderhorn Park here in Minneapolis. This stream is cut into
Decades
two.
of police
Sorry about
reform
that.
efforts have proved that the Minneapolis Police Department cannot be reformed.
And will never be held accountable for their actions.
We are here today to begin the process of ending the Minneapolis Police Department.
And creating new transformative model for cultivating safety in Minneapolis.
We recognize that we don't have all the answers to what a police-free future looks like, but we know that the community does.
We are committing to engaging with every willing community member in Minneapolis over the next year to identify what safety looks like for you.
We will be taking intermediate steps towards ending the MPD through the budget process and
other policy and budget decisions over the coming, I want to say it right, and other policy and budget decisions over the coming weeks and months.
All of us on this stage support this statement, and we stand with the people of Minneapolis and fighting for a safer community.
Pretty historic statement made. 9 city council members up in the front, raising their fists, saying they're going to take the intermediate steps towards ending the Minneapolis Police Department. This is happening here live in Powderhorn Park here in South Minneapolis. Thousands are out here.
So, that was a big one, y'all. We just made history, y'all. And as many of them as they spoke encouraged, this is the beginning, right? This is a continuous fight. If you got questions, if you need answers from your council members, they right here, y'all. If you got some tension with them, actually community-led safety means we address tension with each other together, okay? If you want to hold them accountable, you know where they work. So, there are big questions ahead of us about how to dismantle the police department and build up the resources that really keep us safe. But there's also so much knowledge right here in Minneapolis, in this park today, and across the country. The world is watching us, Minneapolis. It's time for every single person here to roll up our sleeves, find our role, and start learning, dreaming, and planning together. I want to thank our council members who are here, just like deeply from the bottom of my heart. I know this takes a lot of courage. I know Black organizers and POC organizers got y'all here, so don't let that story get twisted in the media, y'all. And y'all are here, and that's critical. And before I pass it over for actually community members to be in small groups and talk about what comes next, I just need to give a lot of love to the young Black people, the queer people, the women who never get seen, who never get recognized, who but have been here every single moment. For believing when someone told us we were too radical, like we didn't have a plan, like we didn't know what that anxiety felt like every time we saw a police officer and knew something was wrong about that. Y'all kept fighting. And y'all led everybody else in this park here today, and you're leading everybody else across the country and the globe. And I am blessed and humbled to be in this fight with y'all. So we're gonna take a couple breaths together, because healing justice is what it's about too. So I wanna invite you to close your eyes or drop your gaze. Invite you to get in touch with this ground that our bodies are blessed to be able to be on. And I want you to think about the young person in your life who gets to grow up in a city without police. I want you to think about what's going to be different about their life. I want you to think about what you all helped make possible today. I want you to think about the smile that they have when they get to walk to the grocery store and never have to fear for their life again. And together, let's take 3 big breaths. Calling in our power, calling in the wisdom of our ancestors, calling in the mandate that we have to future generations. Together, breathe in and out. Again, breathe in our possibility. Breathe out false barriers that may try to hold us back. Breathe in new possibilities for safety in our community. And breathe out doubt, because we got each other. So now what we're gonna do, because I'm an organizer. Oh yeah, shout out to the organizers, because that's how it got here, period. Folks like to act like it's just random, like we randomly decided to go to Jacob Fry's house yesterday. No, I have no reason to be on that block, other than to harass that man. So, what I want you to do is turn to small groups. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's other folks on your block that you're sitting next to, and maybe it's a new friend, a new homie. And what I want you to talk about, we're gonna give you all about like 15, 20 minutes, is what questions do you have? Because we know you got questions. What are your hopes? And what is one thing you will do to move this work forward? Because again, this is on all of us. We can't rely on Black and brown bodies to keep this fight forward. We know we're gonna be led by them, period. But it's on all of us. And then, because receipts are real, y'all. We need to actually know that y'all are in it with us. What I wanna ask the small group is pick a leader. Oh my God, I love how organizer this is. We have a leaderful movement. So pick someone in your group to email us your answers, okay? So you can email them to reclaimtheblock@gmail.com with Sunday community meeting in the subject line. Like, this is how we do it. Google gonna get an influx. So we're gonna take 15 to 20 minutes. And before, I move on, I just wanna make sure folks know who really got us here. Shout out to Reclaim the Block and Black Visions, who have been calling for the defunding of the police for a minute now. And we are grateful that you are all here with us. All right, so like we do, turn to a partner, turn to someone next to you, and talk about what questions, what hopes you have, and make sure you email us your answers. Thank you. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna hear from another one of my Minneapolis favorites, Janada. She's gonna bless us with her artistry and her fly outfit, y'all. I can't wait for you to see it. And we'll close out.
Well, good to see you again, Nico.
Yeah, you too, man.
How's it going?
Good, good.
Oh, that arm heal.
Yeah, it's healing. Good, man.
Way better. It looked like someone bit you, dude.
Right,
Last
right.
time I saw it, I was like,
Circle.
someone bit you? He's like, no, he just got shot. I'm like, what? What? Good to see you too, man.
Yeah, for sure. We'll try to grab an interview or two during this period of time of 20 minutes. Hey. What up? You want to talk at all?
Not right now, but in a minute.
Okay.
You look good right now with the clothes and I know your whole outfit.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I will say something.
What time? When?
After I read my poem.
Oh, afterwards? Okay.
Okay.
I was trying to fill in the time where people are just talking, so I'll grab some interviews with somebody. Okay. Thank you. Would either of y'all want to speak during downtime? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right. So we are live, joined by an organizer who's been putting in a lot of work for a lot of years in a lot of different areas. You can talk about who you are if you want, or you don't have to. Either way, I want to know what you thought about what happened today here at Powderhorn Park just a few minutes ago.
Hi, I'm gonna take this off. Sophia, my name is Sophia. I am a core team member and staff at Black Visions Collective. What happened here today? Well, it's really a shift into the first steps of defunding the police. It's going to be a long journey, but we also know that this is the beginning and not the end. And what we're waiting for and what we're going to be pushing for is continual transformation into safety-led solutions and forevermore the indefinite defunding of the police.
Yeah. So we had city council members talking about changing the budgetary process, changing some of the other policies. Do you have, so there was it was 9 city council members here?
Yep.
Do you have hopes that can really, really happen in this next period of time?
Yes, I do have hope. I mean, I know that it's going to happen. I also have accountability. We just saw it, we just heard it, and we as organizers will hold them accountable to the end.
So this has been a process for many years where people have been pushing for the disbandment or defunding, first of all, right? And so we hear some alternative ideas. What is I think we talked about this a little tiny bit too, maybe yesterday. What is your thoughts on what's the pathway forward? We have some ideas that were talked about. What is your favorite ideas?
Oh my gosh. Well, I am a fan of alternatives in general. That's kind of my vibe. But I honestly think that there's a lot that exists already, and I think that transitioning funds into stuff that exists, where they don't have to rely and they aren't relying upon the police, is very important. I actually think that through this pandemic and this time, folks have actually bloomed in neighborhoods. neighborhood safety-led solutions, and also like cultural groups and different areas have also bloomed from this, and I am very excited to hear and see what comes from that as well.
Yeah. What is your feeling? There was thousands of people who witnessed what just happened. It seemed pretty historic. What is your feeling about all of that?
My heart is skipping beats. I actually think that this is a moment in time that is not only here for Minnesota for life, but is also going to stand the test of time and also leads the way for other places in the United States and beyond the United States and Turtle Island to exist and find their path into defunding their police and the police state overall. And hopefully beyond that, because policing in general is not a thing that needs to exist. It's not safe for any of us.
Thank you for that. So, as far as the next step forward for protests or gatherings from the Black Visions Collective or from beyond, for as far as you know, what are they?
You'll just have to see. You know, I believe in security culture, and we will see how this all transitions and transforms and how people follow through. And yeah, it's to be continued. And it's going to be a long journey, and we're in for the long haul.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
No, I want to say hi, Dad, because I know you're watching.
Thank you. Thank you. Here you go if you want some.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, am I still alive?
Yeah. Sweet. Here, I got this for you if you want. And I just wiped this down too, but.
Oh, no worries.
Okay. So hey, what did we just witness, man? It seemed like this was sort of historic.
Yeah, just a little bit,
Yeah, just a little bit historic. Why? Explain what happened.
Yeah, I mean, after weeks of protesting, weeks of Black and brown organizers bearing their soul, what we just witnessed was the Minneapolis City Council announcing to all of us, to the world, live stream, that they are going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department and replace that with transformative, community-led safety. That is a historic moment.
Yeah. So there was 9 city council members?
No, 9 out of 12, technically, yes.
9 out of 12. How did that happen?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I also organized with Reclaim the Black, so it's been a lot of pressure. It's been since 5 years coming, right? We started with Jamar Clark, and then even like after Philando, kept pushing. Reclaim the Black formed 2 years ago, talking about diverting money from the police, not even dismantling, just diverting some money. Last year, we tried to stop the $8.2 million increase, and unfortunately, we were unsuccessful. And now George Floyd died, so that we had the opportunity and the momentum to actually create societal change.
Yeah, I've heard multiple times it's 2 years too late.
Exactly.
People have been fighting for this for a long time, and now George Floyd is dead.
Exactly.
So this now, are you hopeful that this will prevent another death?
Yeah, definitely. So just because we're dismantling the police system does not mean that violence is gone, right? We already know that historical and generational trauma exists. So what we're saying is that this is the only path forward to the liberation of all people. We have to dismantle the systems in which we live under to gain that Black liberation, that liberation that we all seek. So understanding that, right? It's not like there's no one else is going to be murdered ever, but understanding this is the way that we can start to heal the generational trauma that white supremacy, capitalism, policing, surveillance has enacted on us in the first place.
Wow, okay, thank you for that. So when it comes to your favorite next steps, your favorite alternatives, what are they?
Exactly, yeah. I think transformative justice is necessary. Public education is necessary. White supremacy is not abolished just because we abolished the police. We have to actually learn about what what privilege and oppression is, we have to read radical black visionaries of the past, and we also have to educate ourselves on what abolition means, and also what does it mean to be a white person, what does it mean to be black, what does it mean to grow up with systemic oppression, what does it mean to come up, what does capitalism mean, right? So all of these things are interconnected, and we have to learn about that first before we can then send that to our communities as well.
All right, okay, word. So we have now that's 9 city council members out of the 12. We have them actually saying that they're going to change budgetary, make budgetary moves, and make policy processes change. Now, how do they get held accountable to what they've said?
Yeah, the only way to do that is with community, right? So, I mean, they said this on live fucking TV. Like, there's multiple news channels from all over the world that are here. So, the only way that they can be held accountable is if we hold them accountable. So, people in Minneapolis residents have to come out. They have to continue to join our community process, because community-led safety without community is just another form of the police, right? That's not what we want. We want to have the autonomy of saying what our safety looks like in our communities.
A quick question off of that. We heard Ariana say she doesn't want, they don't want the block parties, or I mean the neighborhood watch, to become even more authoritative than the police. Exactly,
and the only way that we're going to dismantle that is if we actually learn what oppression looks like, right? We actually learn what's code, right? Like when we talk about racism, when we talk about white supremacy, that's embedded in us all. That's embedded in white people, that's embedded in Asian American folks. Anti-blackness is global, right? So the only way that we're going to make sure that community-led safety doesn't turn into another policing system is if we actually engage with our neighbors and engage with the ones around us.
Thank you for that. So it sounds like you've been studying this abolitionist framework for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Where can people find it if they don't really know much about this and like they're sort of scared? We even sort of heard like, what if you're sort of scared about what this means without police? Where do you think people can? It's not really on you to tell people, but like, what's some reading that got you to where you are?
Yeah, definitely. Asada Shakur is a big one, right? Also, Angela Davis has a really good book around the prison industrial complex and abolition, right? You can even watch 13th Amendment on Netflix if you're not someone who likes to read. There are so many things, so many books out there, so much media made by black people for black people.
One last question, I'll let you get back. Alternative to the jailing system, to incarceration.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Exactly, that's a good question. I mean, no one should be put in cages. We understand that the reason that people are in prison is for rehabilitation, but that never actually works. So what we're saying is that we don't have all the answers to those questions, but also understanding and knowing the problem to get to a solution is the first point. So understanding how do we actually have transformative justice when we're talking about rehabilitation, when we're talking about generational violence, right? That's what transformative justice is, getting to the root of the problem to solve the issue in the community. And prisons don't do that.
Okay, word. Thank you so much. Anything else you'd want to say?
No, shout out to Black Visions Squad. Everyone out there, appreciate y'all. And keep the fight. This is a global uprising, right? This is not just Minneapolis. This is not just the United States. We have folks all over the globe who are calling for the end of policing as we know it. And we got to keep it up in the localities and the communities that we live in. So keep up the fight. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. That was organizer Lucci. I try to. It's good to really for real meet you.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, maybe I'll just talk via Jen and.
Yeah, let's get back together again.
Okay.
Yep. So again, we're here live in Minneapolis. There's still community meetings going on. You heard there was a pretty historic announcement earlier today. You see some of the meetings. This is like circle groups. Thank you, appreciate that. Circle groups all over, and the circle groups are discussing what a police-free looks like, a police-free future looks like, what it looks like to have the police disbanded, and what it looks like to have something in replacement or in alternative to a police department. So that's what's happening behind us, or in front of the screen in a moment. That during those moments, what's happening? Here's another circle. Discussions.
Christian, you was buff in a mother.
Would you want to talk at all?
What you gonna ask me about?
What you just witnessed?
What I didn't witness anything.
Oh, you weren't here?
Well, nah. Okay, I just left the mental hospital, to be honest, bro, like a week ago. And I kind of I'm not in tune with the politics. I know some fucked up shit happened. We'd have to like frame something. Like, what is you asking right now?
Well, I'm live right now too, so like I don't want to mess with you if you don't want to be. So right here, I'll come back to you after this.
Hell yeah,
Sending
man.
you my love, man.
Appreciate
Sending you my love. Yep.
I was furious. You have very much. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. I was like, it's y'all, but it's y'all. I'm showing up for y'all. I appreciate it, and I do want to have some real conversations. Yes, we have.
Try to grab another interview real quick.
Okay, can you get the desk at this door? Is the one doing the flowers? Yeah, I got you.
Somebody with a backpack brought me just kind of, I really want to give it back to them. I don't know where they are.
I think they don't care about it. I'm not going to do it.
I know you're super busy. Would you want to share any words real quick?
Yeah, of course,
okay,
with y'all, of course.
Sweet. I just wiped this down. Let me give you some more wipe down if you want.
Do you want me to be up on the hill a little bit higher?
Yeah, that'll work. Here you go. You want to take that for yourself? I had just wiped it down, but I want to make sure you're good.
Yeah, I'm trying. I feel like I've been passing over
there's so much.
all day.
Yeah.
Also for yourself, ma'am.
Oh, I know, right?
Yes.
I get Rona scared for sure.
I know.
So yeah,
out of here.
You can say who you are. I think you already sort of mentioned it on the stream.
Okay.
What did we just witness today? It seemed pretty historic. Can you give your rundown of what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name is Candace Montgomery. I'm the director of Black Visions, as well part of Reclaim the Block. And my rundown of what just happened is we saw the power and force of community and community organizing in particular coming into play. And we saw our council members make a bold statement and a commitment to end this year defunding MPD and transitioning to something new.
Yeah. So I think you were the one that mentioned it's been happening for years. This work. Now George Floyd is dead. You said that yesterday. You said it could have been avoided. Have this new path forward had happened already 2 years ago, in what ways could George Floyd's death have been avoided?
I mean, absolutely. Like, I think what's important about George Floyd is that he was arrested. The cops were called on him for $20. $20, a bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, a bill. Like, that's how, like, if George had actually gotten a livable job, right? Like a living wage and like quality housing and insurance and whatever he needed, like that could have been avoided. He would have never been up there like that, you know? And I think that oftentimes we shame people for being poor in these situations, but it's like, no, people are just trying to literally feed themselves and house themselves.
And I think that's what's really, really, really critical, you know? And if 2 years ago, like, it's not just about George Floyd, like, we might not also have hundreds of people sleeping in tents during the winter, like if we started this action then. And so that's why we have to start it now, because if we don't, there's going to be another George, but there's also hundreds more who are going to go hungry, who are getting a shitty education, you know, like that is what we're talking about. We're talking about something growing, and that's what the most exciting piece of it all is.
Right, and it's all the people growing and imagining a new future and a new alternative to what we see. I think we touched on this a little bit yesterday, maybe even, where it's like, yeah, we see like people's ambulance coming up. We see people, you can go shopping at 38th in Chicago for free right now. Those types of community things, is that what's going to replace the police, or what specifically are the alternatives?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think first of all, we don't know all of them. And I'm never going to lie to folks to say that we don't. And that's an intentional thing. They've ruined our imagination and told us that policing is the issue. We have to change our imagination. You know, we have to change what's possible. And I think concretely, yes, absolutely. It's actually putting investments in things like making sure everybody has food, making sure everybody has housing, really thinking about and honestly being in process together about, okay, so how do we want to keep each other safe? What are the ways that we want to address harm? Because harm is going to happen. But how do we do that without sending racists with guns and no accountability into our communities? That's not the solution. And I think that folks are talking right now about what that solution is.
Right. And then so 9 city council members showed up and sort of said the same thing you're saying.
Yeah.
Dismantling the police department is their aim now.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
That happened because of organizing. That happened because of Harriet Tubman. That happened because of Malcolm X. That happened because of Huey P. Newton. That happened because of Ella Baker. That happened because of Marsha P. Johnson. That happened because of Miski Noor and Alucio Mioga and Hani Ali and Sophia Ben-Rud and Artisha Ceballos. That happened because of all of the Black Visions members and all of the members of Reclaim the Block who for the last 2 years have been calling on our city to do this. That's why. Because we're organizing. We're not unruly protesters. We're not, we have a plan, we have a clear action, and we're also feeding the energy of our community. You know, all of the folks who took to the streets the last few weeks, like any tactic that they did, like I have no shame in that, and I support all the tactics, you know, and we have to get organized because we have to make a plan together, and that takes community organizing, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point about tactics. There was a ton of tactics shown in the last 2 weeks. There was the youth on the streets burning the precinct. There was weird, wild stuff that was happening throughout the neighborhood where other things were getting burnt. But then there's also the fundamental organizing that you're talking about, where you're organizing with city council members. Can you talk about just like that approach a little bit more of how the diversity of tactics have maybe now pushed even city council members to say they're for the disbandment of the MPD?
Absolutely. Well, the young Black people who unapologetically got in the streets, especially last week, they got us here. They got us, you know, national attention that meant that the city council members couldn't ignore our demands anymore. And then I think folks who have been organizing around this issue, we're really able to flank them and to support them in what their cries were. But, you know, we've been on nightly calls with the council members, training them, educating them about what we are talking about. We've been talking to community. Today was a community training on abolition, you know, so that's all of the things that we got here.
Right. Any last words? I know you're in the middle of organizing stuff.
I know, I'm getting people to say, hey, come on. You know, fuck 12, fuck MPD, believe in vision, believe in yourself. We are the only ones who keep us safe.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Yeah. You heard from Candace Montgomery. Looks like they're going to do the closeout in a minute. There's still community conversations happening. Phil? What up? How are you, man? Yeah. How are you?
Alright, all my people from New York are saying the unicorn, right, and everything. Yeah, man.
Right, nice. From New York, huh?
Yeah.
That's nice, man.
I already know about you guys. Everywhere. Trying to move out, they just get that.
Alright, yeah. Let me give you one of our cards, too.
For sure.
What you think going after this? Do you think for French or what's going after this?
30th in Chicago is popping all the time, so I have to take care of some personal things or else I would be up there, but I think up there is going big.
All right, y'all. Come on back together. When I say Black Lives, you say matter. Black Lives. Black Lives. When I say Black Lives, you say matter. Black Lives. Black Lives. All right. So I know we're having some really deep and powerful community conversations. I want y'all to know that this is what our future is going to feel like. That this is going to be part of our regular practice. You know, like we don't live in a democratic world right now, but we can surely ensure and build democracy, and that's what this is. So shout out to y'all for being here. Shout out to y'all for rolling up your sleeves and digging into these hard conversations. I appreciate y'all. Now I am blessed to introduce Janata. Janata should be an inspiration to all of us, but is a visionary artist and like community auntie kind of, like, yeah, like kind of, it's like something there, yeah. Who is gonna read a poem for us that honestly really changed my perspective in this work. And shout out to all the artists because y'all are the reason that we have this vision in the first place. Come on, more love for the artists, y'all. I know y'all are retweeting and sharing their pictures for free. More love to the artists, y'all. Let's go, let's go.
This is Wanada, author of a new book. Wanada
Hello?
Breakfast.
Oh, shit. Hey, everyone. I just want to tell y'all I love y'all. And I think that we deserve better than police. You know, like I've lived with police my whole life in my schools, in my neighborhoods, harming people I love and not doing anything that we need. So I wrote a poem 5 years ago, actually, around the time Michael Brown was murdered, around like what is the energy spirits that we need in our communities and streets instead of people who got guns from communities that don't understand us, who have repressed white supremacist tendencies. We don't need it. So this is a poem called Could We Please Give the Police Departments to the Grandmothers. Could we please give the police departments to the grandmothers? Give them the salaries and the pensions and the city vehicles, but make them a fleet of vintage Corvettes, Jaguars and Cadillacs with white leather interior, diamond in the back, sunroof top, dig in the scene with the gangsta lean. Let the cars be badass. You would hear the old school jams like Patti LaBelle, Anita Baker, Prince, Al Green. You would hear Sweet Honey and The Rock harmonizing on We Who Believe in Freedom Will Not Rest, bumping out the speakers. And they got the booming system. If you up to mischief, they will pick you up swiftly in their sweet ride and look at you until you catch shame and look down at your lap. She asks if you are hungry and you say yes, and of course you are. She got a crown of dreadlocks, and on the dashboard you see brown faces like yours, shea buttered and loved up. And there are no precincts, just love temples that got spaces to meditate, eat delicious food, mangoes, blueberries, nectarines, cornbread, peas and rice, fried plantain, yams, greens, pecan pie, lemonade, all that good food. Things that make your mouth water and soul arrive. All the hungry bellies know warmth. All the children expect love. The grandmas help you with homework, practice yoga with you, and teach you how to make jambalaya and coconut cake from scratch. When you're sleepy, she'll start humming and rub your back while you drift off. A song that she used to have the record of when she was your age. She remembers how it felt like to be you and be young and not know the world that good. Grandma is a sacred child herself who just circled the sun enough times into the ripeness of her cronehood. And she wants your life to be sweeter. When you wildin' out because your heart is broke or you don't have what you need, the grandmas take your hand and lead you to their gardens.
You can lay down amongst the flowers, grasses, roses, dahlias, irises, lilies, collards, kale, eggplants, blackberries. She wants you to know that you're safe, protected, universal, limitless, sacred, sensual, divine, and free. Grandma is the original warrior, wild since birth, comfortable and loving fiercely. She has fought so that you don't have to, not in the same ways at least. So give the police departments to the grandmas. They fearless, classy, actualized, blossomed from love. They wear what they want and they say what they please. Believe that. There wouldn't be noise citations when the grandmas ride through our streets, blasting Stevie Wonder, Nina Simone, Marvin Gaye, Alice Coltrane, Jimi Hendrix, Kara Swan, all that good music. The kid's gonna hula hoop to it and sell her lemonade made from heirloom pink lemons and maple syrup. The car is solar powered and carbon footprintless. The grandmas designed the technologies themselves. At night, they park the cars in a circle so all can sit in them with the roofs down and look at the stars. Talk about astrological signs. What to plant tomorrow based on the moon's mood, and help you memorize Audre Lorde and James Baldwin quotes. She always looks you in the eye and acknowledges the light in you with no hesitation or fear. And Grandma loves you fiercely forever. She sees the pain in our bravado, the confusion in our anger, the depth behind our coldness. Grandma knows what oppression has done to our souls and is going to change it one love temple at a time. She has no fear. Thank you, everyone. Thank y'all for coming out here and fighting to end this atrocity of our society. This is what a good ancestor looks like, being up in the park right now and resisting the police state. Also, if you would like to support my work, I got some posters of this poem, parts of the poem over there, so just if you're interested. My name is Junauda, Junauda, and I love y'all, and like Black Lives Matter, defund the police, refund our communities.
Ready? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we kind of forgot about pandemic. We had to give some love. It was worth the risk. Last but certainly not least, I want to call up Aluchi. So if folks were attending the protest right now, yesterday, Aluchi was helping at the head of that, was there with me, making sure that we held our mayor accountable and, basically grounded him back to his home. So Aluchi, to you, my friend.
Yeah, okay. Hey, y'all. My name is Aluchi. I use any pronouns. Originally from St. Paul. Shout out St. Paul right now, a little bit of St. Paul. But I live in the Minneapolis. I rep the 612. So they called me out here to be a little hype, right? Because, as a Leo, I can be a little hype. I actually wrote some shit down, so let me read that real quick. First of all, thank y'all for being here, right? Like, if it wasn't for community, we wouldn't be at this moment. So give a huge shout out to yourselves in this moment. I think y'all can be a little louder. So today is June 7th, 2020. Today, the Minneapolis City Council announced that they were dismantling the Minneapolis Police Department. You gotta say things in threes for emphasis. Minneapolis City Council announced that they will dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department. The Minneapolis City Council announced that they're going to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department. That is not just historic for Minnesota, that is not just historic for the United States, but this is historic for the whole world. Councilmember Ellison I call him Jeremiah. He said that black people live outside of the United States, which is true. My parents were born and raised in Nigeria. Shout out Nigeria. Hey, Ibo Kwenu. But we have to know that the fight here is also for the fight over there. And we have to know that even though the uprising started in Minneapolis, it's going on everywhere, y'all. It's going on in DC. It's going on in Atlanta. It's going on in Colombia, in Nigeria. And what a better way, what a better fucking day than the day that the purple one was born, y'all. Prince always said that the revolution is gonna start in Minneapolis. And look at this, my niggas! Look at this, my niggas! And you know, my non-niggas too, y'all here as well. But this is incredible. This is so much momentum, so much pain, so much anger, so much sadness that we have had to endure for centuries, right? But with that, so much joy, so much appreciation, so much love, so much gratitude, so much happiness, so many happy tears, right? Yesterday, we saw thousands of Minneapolitans, thousands of Minnesotans come together and tell Mayor Fry, we don't want no Minneapolis Police Department. We got to hold him accountable, y'all, to his face. And then today, stark difference, we have 9 city council members who are all vowing to disband the Minneapolis Police Department. So I just want y'all to sit with that. And I also want y'all to know, just because we dismantle NPD does not mean that dismantles white supremacy. That does not mean that white people, y'all get to take a break. That does not mean we stop centering black people in every conversation that we have. I need y'all to continue reading. I need y'all to continue following black leadership. And I need y'all to continue learning about what intersectionality means, what abolition means, what capitalism means, right? What imperialism means. So that we can actually gain a liberatory future where black people are actually liberated. And I also want y'all to be part of this process, because what we're trying to build is community-led safety. And what is community-led safety without the community? Just another police force, if y'all didn't know. So y'all need to be in these conversations with us. I need to listen to every single Minneapolitan and say, what does community safety look like to you, right? And I also want y'all to just think, if your council member was on this stage today, I need y'all to call them. I need y'all to text them. I need y'all to go to their houses if you know where they live, if they're in their neighborhood, and thank them. Because this shit right here is brave as fuck. This shit right here is brave as fuck. The first city in the United States of America, y'all. So I love chants. I'm gonna do a little chant for them. For all the city council members who are still here. It's the We Love You chant. It gets people hyped, and we're just gonna do that for like 2 seconds. So, we love you, we love you. We love you, we love you. Hey, we love you, we love you. We love you, we love you. Hey, we love you, we love you. We love you, we love you. Yes! Thank y'all so fucking much. So to close today, we need y'all to talk to your community members who are not here right now. If your city council member was not here right now, why? Ask them why. Why Kevin Rank? Why Linnea Palmisano? Why Lisa Goodman? Why aren't y'all here today standing with community? Can y'all do that for me? I believe in enthusiastic consent. Can y'all do that for me? So again, we wanted to thank you for coming out. We wanted to thank you for your words, for your energy, and know that the revolution started here and it will end here, and we are here together, y'all. Thank you so much for coming out, y'all.
Again, we're here live in Minneapolis at Powderhorn Park. The event has just wrapped up. Yeah, sweet. Here, let me give you I got some
You're with Unicorn, right?
Yep.
I just wanted to thank you guys so much for the reporting you guys have been doing. I've been following it, just discovered you guys a couple weeks ago. And
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Man. My name is Nico. Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to find my here, I'll just hold it because I cannot find my hand sanitizer. I just had it.
It's all right. No
all right, cool. So you've been around. How long you've been a Minneapolis citizen your whole life, eh?
Yep, I'm 34 years old. Southside Minneapolis, born and raised right here in my indigenous Dakota territory. I'm Dakota and Boricua, and yeah, I mean these are my ancestral lands. And yeah, that's I'm holding it down. Been holding it down my whole life.
Yeah. What did you were you here during this event?
Yes.
What did you just witness?
I witnessed a piece of history that's really powerful and profound right here on Prince's birthday. 9 of the 13, it's 13, right? 13 12 city council members. So the majority of the city council members of the city of Minneapolis have voted to dismantle and defund the Minneapolis Police Department. And this is a very impactful and important place to be, simply because, you know, this whole uprising started here, right in South Minneapolis. You know, and I mean it's been an ongoing thing. Of course, police brutality has existed, you know, arguably since the beginning of this so-called nation here on stolen land on Turtle Island. But for it to be here in my own hometown and see all of this happen on our land is really powerful. It's really special. There is a lot of resistance. There's still a lot of work to be done, of course, protecting our communities. There's a lot of things that came up in the discussion, not just here today, but throughout this whole experience, you know, as we mourn the death of George Floyd and those 4 cops who murdered him. I'm not going to say their names, but the 4 former Minneapolis police officers that murdered him. I mean, there's been a lot of conversations going on about what it looks like to police our own people and keep our own people safe through our own community and public safety. I have been working directly with the AIM Patrol over in the Phillips community, and we have and also folks on the north side and all over the Twin Cities have been protecting their own communities, and it's been far more effective than what the police have been doing. And this is without like funding. This is without tax money coming in. This is simply people who are compassionate about keeping their neighborhood safe, coming together and doing that in a good way. And so, you know, like I said, we were out protecting Native organizations and businesses, because Native people, you know, like we're in full solidarity with the black community, because the two demographics of people in the United States that are getting murdered by police the most are the black and the Native communities out here. And so I think it's especially important that we show up for each other and we show solidarity. But the first week of the whole uprising, you know, the whole Native community was under attack, and there are a lot of threats going around about white supremacists coming through. And so we connected with a lot of members of the Indigenous communities, and we connected with the AIM Patrol to patrol our own blocks, keeping very close communication with each other. And if you go over to Franklin Avenue and if you go over to the Native community, you see that there really wasn't hardly anything that got burned down. You know, most of the businesses are going to be, and this goes beyond just the Native community. I mean, it's that Native corridor where if you go down, like there's a Somali corner store that's going to be able to reopen no problem. You see like Maria's Cafe is going to be able to reopen no problem, and it's because the community in the neighborhood is taking care of it. And it shows you more and more, it's more and more evident that we do not need the Minneapolis Police Department. As a person who has been brutalized by the Minneapolis Police Department several occasions, I've been assaulted by the Minneapolis police. I understand the hardship, and I am here in full solidarity with the black community because they're at the forefront of the movement. The black community is leading this movement right now, and we are here as Indigenous people on our Indigenous territories to let the world know that we completely support this movement for justice and for abolishing the police.
Yeah, thank you for that. I like that you brought up the community patrol that's already happened. I saw the Division of Indian Work got a whole bunch of people was out there during some of the roughest nights, and it was real. Like there was a lot of pandemonium happening.
Yeah, I was actually out there with a crew of, so we called in a lot of our Indigenous warriors that we work with fighting against the oil industry and oil pipelines and oil infrastructure, and they got called in to come in and help protect Native businesses as well. And we were out there at the DIW, and trust me, like we were being targeted as looters and rioters when we were simply there to protect, because that's what we do.
By the state.
Yeah, totally. And so by the police and by the riot cops and whoever else, they were. The thing is, their training is so poor is that they don't know how to distinguish between someone who is protecting their own building and their own community and someone who's rioting, because they're coming at it from a racist lens, and they just think every one of us are, they think we're all criminal. And so that's because they're not from the communities. They can't distinguish. When you got a police force that's 94% not from the community here in Minneapolis, you're going to get a disconnect that allows for that type of miscommunication and lack of understanding to the point where they can't distinguish, and so they're shooting rubber bullets at us, flash bangs, they even shot some live rounds at us, and we had to run into Powderhorn Park to take cover while these helicopters were searching for us, and we didn't even do anything other than protect the land and protect Native businesses from getting burned down. And so that's the climate that we're dealing with, and that's how much that shows you, even with just the police brutality that's already been happening for hundreds of years, it also reiterates the fact that they are still inflicting even more violence on us when they're supposed to be out here keeping us safe during a quote-unquote riot. And I refer to it as an uprising, you know what I'm saying? But like, even in those scenarios where they're called in to protect people, they are still harming and hurting people. People are losing their eyes. People are, getting permanent injuries, you know what I mean? And so it's a really hard thing to watch, but my heart goes out to all those people who have been affected by it and who have taken those, those hits, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for doing. Of course, Unicorn Riot is a fam, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all always for being on the ground. We've also been on the ground just trying to get an accurate account of the atrocities that we're witnessing and the violent police repression that we continue to see over and over again, and it brings up a lot for people, for a lot of people that a lot of frontline people who have been there throughout all kinds of different movements, whether it's police brutality or fighting against pipelines or whatever movement, it's reopening and re-triggering so many different levels of trauma, especially for people like me who've left with permanent injuries from being on the front line and using those tactics, and these police using these super harmful, quote-unquote, less lethal rounds that can actually really kill somebody. I mean, if you hit somebody in the neck with one of those impact munitions or whatever it is, you can kill somebody with that, and so they're lethal. I think it's important for people to also understand that the weapons that they are using are escalating the danger that they are supposedly trying to protect the tax-paying citizens from, you know? So there's a lot of irony there, and there's a lot of, it's very backwards, and, you know, I'm just really happy right now because we have a city council that's you have city council members that like at one point were pushing, I won't say no names right now, but you know, there's city council members up here who push for the expansion of the Minneapolis Police Department who now became abolitionists, you know what I mean? And so, you know, we're seeing some change, and just to see this moment in history, to come down here and watch the majority of the city council members, you know, vote to abolish the police, defund the police, is such a beautiful sight. It gives me hope. I have a lot of different feelings that I'm feeling as far as like this whole movement, sadness, anger, you know, but you know, to balance that sadness and anger, you also have the spirit of the resistance that's within so many people, especially our young people, our young black people, trans, queer, LGBT communities, you know what I mean, holding it down, leading this movement. It's such a beautiful sight to see, and so I'm incredibly inspired right now. It feels good. There's a lot of work, you know, just like Lucci said, you know, this is not going to end white supremacy, and I have a feeling that there's going to be, you know, a reaction to all of this. I feel like, you know, if, and hopefully they do, those 4 terrorist murderer officers who murdered George Floyd, if they get convicted and thrown into prison, I feel like there's going to be a, you know, potentially another wave of white supremacy and white violence inflicted on our community. So I think it's important for us to be mindful of that, to think about what are the different ways we're going to be, what are the different strategies we're going to use to keep ourselves safe from that. I think we already learned a lot of what that looks like, and I think we're going to be better if there's going to be another wave of that coming through, because there is a very, you know, there's a possibility for that. You know what I mean? But you know, we're not afraid. The people have the power. We're going to protect our communities, and you know, we're going to continue to stand with our black community. Black Lives Matter, you know, and everybody go follow Black Visions Collective because they're holding it down on the forefront. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Sweet. Can I ask you real quick? I want to add on. The Division of Indian Work, from my understanding, is they even had, like the elders there even had permission to be there to protect the business, written from the governor, from my understanding, and the National Guard totally disobeyed that. Do you know about that side of things or no?
Yeah, I mean, there was permission, but the thing is, like, there was permission even from the mayor over at Little Earth for the people to hold down their own blocks, and they still came in and swept through and pushed. So they're not even following their own commands from their own, you know, hierarchical systems that they supposedly abide by and obey or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, like it doesn't, I didn't know of that specifically, but it doesn't surprise me at all, you know, because we watch it happen, you know, like all of this, and it goes back to all of this, like, it's just like the reform, you know, like all of these different levels of reform that the police have went through and have just like not taken it serious. And that's one of the biggest reasons why police reform is not going to work and abolition has to work, because the police are not taking orders from their higher ups. And maybe their higher up isn't even telling them in a serious tone to actually go out there. It could be just them saying that because it sounds good, you know, and so it looks good on paper, or it looks good in the media, or whatever else, you know, it is, but they're not following that. The police never follow the rules, you know, and so I'm not surprised, you know. I'm just happy that we were able to save so much. You know, like I said, the sadness is there, the heartbreak is there. You know, I went over in my own community, Lake and Minnehaha, you know, a few days ago to check out the devastation and the aftermath, you know, and one view I'm looking over and I'm like, wow, like, you know, Addis Ababa burned down, you know what I'm saying? You know, Migizi damaged. Our local post office burned down. We watched all that happen, you know, heartbreak, sadness. Turn around, I look at the 3rd precinct and I say, wow, this is inspiring, this is beautiful, this is the people that put their bodies and their lives on the line to take back, you know, what really, to reclaim and take back what really belongs to us, because we are the people who are paying taxes. We are the ones that are paying. We're not even paying it, they're taking it. Like the people, the majority of the people haven't had the choice. They're just like, yo, most people, especially work is ordinary lives. you know, and they pay taxes, and this money goes to a terrorist organization that has been terrorizing our communities. You know what I'm saying? And so to see that this has been like the epicenter of the revolution. It all started here. So to see that happening here on Dakota territory, being in solidarity with our black community, and being here, it's just it's so inspiring, you know, and it's hard not to get emotional, but it's inspiring, it's beautiful, and I know revolution is going to happen as long as we continue to show up, you know, and I've been, you know, we've been utilizing our resources and helping patrol Native communities. It seems like things have calmed down over there, and so now it's like where I'm at right now is like, hey, whatever I can do to be an accomplice to black people here in Minneapolis and all across the states and all across the world, you know, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm here as, you know, as someone who's ready, as a non-black, indigenous, Latinx person. I am here to put in the work to help build solidarity and work towards, you know, seeing a just world for the black community, indigenous people, communities of color, and all people all across Turtle Island and all across the world.
All right, thank you all for all that. Thank you for the time. Where can people? I know you're an artist. I want to give you space to say that. And where can people find your music?
Yeah, for sure. My name is 2for1. You can go to 2for1.com. That's TUFAWON.com, and then you could also follow me on all the social media platforms. All of my music is there. You can go to my Instagram right now. It's just 2for1, TUFAWON. It's all there. Check me out. And yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Sure. Appreciate it, man. All right, so Powderhorn Park. We witnessed what's pretty historic. 9 city council members, all of them saying that they will push to defund and dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department. They gave ways and means to do that by changing some of the budget process and the policies. If you want to see what happened, we have it split into 2 streams. Sorry, there was a between that. We will continue to document what's happening around the George Floyd killing here in Minneapolis and elsewhere. We were tweeting from Philly the other day. We've been tweeting from Denver as well. Check out our Twitter, UR_ninja. Check out our Instagram, unicorn.riot. Check out our YouTube and Vimeo. We are unicornriot.ninja on the internet. If you have the financial privilege to support independent, nonprofit media that's horizontally organized with no bosses, you can go to unicornriot.ninja/donate. If you would like to also support in other means necessary, you could share our work, talk about what you've learned or what you've seen in our work, in our conversations with people and their conversations with us, and our documentation. So thank you again. Again, we will continue to be out here in the streets of Minneapolis right now on 38th in Chicago. There's a lot of people there going on. We probably will not be live up there tonight, but we will be back around tomorrow and the next days. We might be live tonight, we don't know, but probably not. Don't expect it very much. Again, peace you all. Thank you for joining, and hope you all have a good rest of the weekend and stay safe. Love you. Peace.